Mr. Stephen Fry, ladies and gentlemen. There he is.
What, who?
Large as life and twice as handsome. Now, Stephen, it's lovely to have you here. You've been away. I know you're here in the UK, and we're going to talk about your play at the moment, but you've been filming the second part of the Hobbit series of films.
That's right. Or what may now turn out to be the third part, or indeed the fourth or fifth. They seem to be stretching it out into infinity, but it was a small book that's become 3 films, and I'm not in the first, which is being released through Christmas, but I think I'm in the second. I'm going back next year to do another couple of months on it, so it may be for the rest of my life. I will well, do send me Scott's porridge oats and you know, peanut butter and British food, if you can.
Well, that's all we have time for. Shortest question I've ever asked someone, 20 minutes. Stephen Fry, ladies and gentlemen. OK, let's talk about The Hobbit, because everyone's excited about this. Lord of the Rings, what a spectacular achievement, what a remarkable success. There were many people who said this can't possibly work, and it probably exceeded their expectations. Yes. The Hobbit, the first of the new films, is out next year, I believe. Mm-hmm. At the moment, they're planning to turn that small book into 3 films.
Yes, they are.
And I can understand why. You can see he's in love with that mythology and those kind of characters. And you will appear in the second of the 3, I believe.
In the second, I'm not sure about the third, because I don't know how it's been structured. That Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens and Peter Jackson, who write the scripts, have done an extraordinary job of basically sort of magnifying and elongating the whole, what Tolkien called, I think, his legendarium, this sort of world of creatures and their languages and everything else. And as most people know, it's all shot down in New Zealand, which is an extraordinarily exciting place to...
I've never been. Is this your first time there?
No, it's not. No, I've filmed there for wildlife documentaries and various other things.
Of course.
But it is... It's like... I mean, they're like Australians in New Zealand, only with best respect to Australians, without the kind of attitude, if you know what I mean. They're a lot softer and sweeter. And in fact, I remember meeting an Australian just after I got back from Wellington, and he said, "Oh, how did you find New Zealand?" I said, "Oh, it's just a wonderful place. I loved Wellington. And they're so nice." He said, "Yeah, but don't you think they're too nice?" Only an Australian would think someone was too nice.
Too nice. Now, I wouldn't have had you down as an extreme sports kind of person.
Oh, yes.
But I've been told that we have footage of you...
We had a bit of time off, you see, and the South Island promises these extraordinary, spectacular activities, one of which they kind of invented, which I took part in. And I was the last person to believe I would actually make this leap of faith.
And this is, of course...
the bungee jump.
So
it's the original bridge from which the first bungee jumps were commercially available.
Now, I wouldn't do that.
Well, you say that. I would have sworn to heaven that I wouldn't, but I somehow thought, well, I'm here. I was a guest of the wonderful Sam Neill, who has a vineyard very close by, and he said, "You've got to bungee jump. Everybody bungee jumps when they come to, you know, down to the South Island." And I said, "Well, yeah, everybody, but not Stephen. Stephens don't do things like that." And he said, "Yes, he sort of drove me off to the place and this bridge, Hackett Bridge, where it first happened. And you find yourself, it's like a dream, you know, one of those nightmares where you find yourself where you've always got a choice, but you keep going, "Oh, I'll say no later." And then you're walking on the bridge, and I'll pull out of it in a minute, and then you're getting roped up. I'll pull out of it, and then it's around your ankle. I'll pull out of a bit, and then you go, "Whee!" You know? And then the extraordinary thing was, the moment I was finished, I was sort of hooked up and put in a boat. I said, "I want another go, I want another go, I want another go." And I immediately had, in fact, I had a 3-way with these 2 Welsh girls.
Hang on.
As it were. It was one of those spectacularly odd things that happens in life, was that you get weighed, because they have to know your weight, because the absolutely crucial thing, so you don't drown, it's over a river, is that they get you they can ask you if you want to go into the water, kiss the water, or just above the water. And they do this according to your weight, the length and elasticity of the rope.
What did you choose?
So I chose just to go above the water for the first one, and to kiss it for the second. Anyway, the girl who was weighing me, I said, just on a sort of conjecture, trying to be Professor Higgins, I said, "Are you from Port Talbot, by any chance?" She said, "Yes, I am." "How'd you know that?" I said, "Well, you sound so like Michael Sheen." "Well, I'm his cousin." That's ridiculous. And so I texted Michael Sheen, and I said, "I'm just talking to your cousin from Port Talbot," and said her name. And I said, "She's, you know, organising a bungee jump." And he texted back immediately, "Well, don't leave any clothes or personal belongings. They're thieving at swine, that family." Only Welsh cousins would talk about each other like that.
So you took her with you?
She had a North Walesian friend, and they said, "Can we come with you?" So I went on a second one.
Let's have a look at a clip.
3, 2, 1.
Wow. You didn't commit.
No, I didn't, did I?
That's the first time I've seen someone not
No.
Because people normally dive, but you kind of went down.
Second time I dove, as they say in America, but no, that time I just looked like a sack of, you know, I looked like a bin liner full of yogurt.
I guess terrifying. Terrifying on the way down, I guess.
Well, it kind of, it's so exhilarating, I can't tell you.
Wow.
You've got such a natural high. I suddenly understand all these dangerous sports clubs and free running and all that kind of thing.
So would you do it again, do you think?
Oh, well, in a heartbeat, in a New York minute, as they say.